TomoNews presents Near Misses.
Malaysia Airlines flight takeoff halted to avoid incoming plane. A Malaysia Airlines flight bound for Kuala Lumpur was instructed to abort its takeoff to avoid an incoming flight. An MH136 flight departing from the Adelaide Airport was halted as a Tiger Air flight from Melbourne prepared to land on Tuesday. The Tiger Air flight requested to perform a routine go-around as its approach was too unstable for landing. The Malaysia flight was already accelerating on the runway when air traffic controllers cancelled its takeoff clearance, citing that the Malaysia flight would be ascending underneath the go-around. The crew stopped the aircraft on the runway and the Tiger Air flight landed safely on its second approach. MH136 resumed its takeoff 25 minutes after the Tiger airplane landed and arrived in Kuala Lumpur with a 10-minute delay.
Two passenger planes nearly collided at Houston Airport. A collision between a Singapore Airlines plane taking off from Houston's George Bush Intercontinental Airport and a Delta Airlines flight arriving from Salt Lake City was narrowly averted late last week when air traffic controllers alerted the crew of both aircrafts. The Singapore Airlines 777, a jumbo jet, took off shortly before 7 p.m. on Thursday and was carrying 235 passengers and 18 crew members. When the plane reached 4,000 feet, the pilot did not level off, as required by Federal Aviation Administration regulations. The aircraft came within 200 feet vertically and within half a mile horizontally of a Delta Airlines A320 Airbus. The FAA requires aircrafts remain separated at least half a mile vertically and 3 miles apart horizontally. An air traffic controller averted a potential disaster by issuing traffic alerts and instructions to both pilots. The FAA says it's still investigating the closest proximity reached between the two planes and plans to ensure all flight crews are aware of the top altitudes for standard routes.
Do budget airlines cut corners? They did in Dublin. Two Ryanair planes clipped wings while taxiing at Dublin Airport Wednesday morning. One plane was bound for Edinburgh, and the other was waiting to depart for Brussels en route to Zadar, Croatia. The winglet on one of the Boeing 737s clipped the tail fin of the other. Both aircraft were under the instruction of Dublin Airport Air Traffic Control at the time, Ryanair said in a statement. Both flights to Edinburgh and to Zadar were delayed, but no one was injured. The budget airline had a similar accident at the same airport last October.
Air France flight narrowly avoids crashing into Cameroon mountain. Air France flight AF953 almost crashed into Central Africa's tallest mountain earlier this month while trying to avoid bad weather during a flight. Air France flight AF953 was traveling from Malabo in Equatorial Guinea to Douala, Cameroon, when it nearly hit a mountain on May 2nd. AF953 was carrying 3 pilots, 10 crew members, and 23 passengers. In order to avoid storm clouds on its flight path, AF953 changed course and turned north mid-flight. The new flight path took it straight toward the 4,090-meter-tall Mount Cameroon. Flying at 2,743 meters, the plane then ascended sharply to 3,962 meters and narrowly missed the mountain. After a preliminary investigation, Air France said crew members acted in accordance with their training. However, all have been taken off flying duties temporarily to undergo more training. France's BEA Air Accident Agency is investigating the near accident as a serious incident.
Two passenger jets in close call at Chicago Airport. Two passenger jets narrowly avoided a collision on Tuesday evening after they attempted to take off at the same time on intersecting runways at Chicago's Midway International Airport. A Southwest Airlines flight heading to Tulsa, Oklahoma, and a Delta Airlines flight heading to Atlanta nearly collided at Chicago's Midway International Airport on Tuesday. Southwest Airlines Flight 2838 was cleared for takeoff on runway 31 Center just before 7:40 p.m. As the plane began to speed down the runway, Delta Airlines Flight 1328 began its takeoff on runway 4 right without clearance. Airport controllers spotted the trouble and ordered the Delta plane to stop immediately. The Southwest plane also chose to abort its takeoff. The aircraft stopped more than 2,000 feet from the runway intersection. The FAA is investigating whether the similar flight numbers of the planes may have contributed to the close call.
Video of a Barcelona airport near miss goes viral, but AENA says there was no danger of impact. A near miss between two airplanes at the Barcelona airport have caused quite a stir after a plane spotter captured the would-be collision on video and uploaded the film onto YouTube. The clip has gone viral since last Saturday, getting over 8 million views in a few days. There are 3 runways at the Barcelona airport: the main runway, 07L25R, the secondary runway, 07L25L, and the diagonal runway, 0220. Several taxiways cross directly over runway 0220, including taxiways K, E, D, M, N, T, and S. According to Aviation Safety Network, the Aerolíneas Argentinas Airbus 340 heading to Buenos Aires was trying to reach runway 07L25R for takeoff. It had crossed runway 0220 at taxiways K and D and was on taxiway M, crossing runway 0220 when the near collision occurred. In the video captured by aviation enthusiast Miguel Angel Ramirez Ruiz, a Russian airline UT Air Boeing 767-300 from Moscow was trying to land on runway 0220 when the Airbus entered its path. However, Spain's airport authority, AENA, claims that no danger was ever present. Aviation experts estimate that the planes were actually about half a mile apart. The Boeing aborted landing by performing a go-around. The Russian plane landed on runway 0220 about 15 minutes later, and the Argentinian Airbus took off at runway 07L25R safely as well.
German plane narrowly avoids drone on approach to Polish airport. A German airliner was involved in a near miss with a drone during its approach to an airport in Poland on Monday. Lufthansa Flight 1614 from Munich to the Polish capital Warsaw was carrying 108 passengers when the incident occurred just after 2 p.m. on Monday, as the plane approached Frederick Chopin International Airport. Polish air traffic officials said the drone was flying around 12 kilometers from the runway at an altitude of around 760 meters when the aircraft passed within 100 meters of it. The angry pilots reportedly lambasted air traffic controllers before the plane landed safely 3 minutes later. Germany is one of the few EU member states to already have regulations for drones, with the use of unmanned aerial vehicles banned within 1.5 kilometers of airport perimeter fences. The European Union, meanwhile, is currently working on a set of rules to regulate the use of drones.
Planes nearly collided mid-air over New Jersey Newark Airport. 2 passenger planes almost collided over Newark Liberty International Airport last month, according to a report just published by a preliminary federal investigation. According to the report, a United Airlines flight, Boeing 737, carrying 155 passengers and 6 crew members, was landing at Newark International Airport. As a Memphis-bound ExpressJet flight carrying 3 crew and 47 passengers was about to take off at the same airport. At one point, the planes were reportedly just 200 feet apart laterally and about 400 feet apart vertically. The United flight was ordered to abort its landing and circle the airport, but the pilot decided to land anyway. The incident occurred at the northeast corner of the airport, where 2 north-south runways intersect with runway 29, normally used to provide additional capacity or offer an alternative when high winds make the other 2 more dangerous.
Emirates and Etihad jets narrowly avert collision. 2 jetliners came as close as 25 seconds away from a mid-air collision over the Arabian Sea on Monday. Dubai-bound Emirates flight EK706 and Seychelles-bound Etihad flight EY622 on Monday night flew close to Mumbai as Yemeni airspace has been closed. The passenger jets almost crashed into each other, but the exact distance between the 2 has not been disclosed. The air traffic collision avoidance system will give out warnings when planes come too close. A traffic advisory is issued when a possible collision is 40 seconds away. Air traffic control issues a resolution advisory when 2 planes will likely collide in 25 seconds. Air traffic control in Mumbai instructed one of the planes to climb and another to descend to avoid a collision. An investigation into the air traffic scare has been launched. Both airlines denied that safety was compromised at any point during the flights.
2 Qantas planes dodged each other mid-air this afternoon after getting too close while flying just west of Adelaide. air traffic control granted permission for the Sydney to Perth plane to ascend. But as it gained altitude, it came into the pathway of a plane from Perth heading to Sydney. Safety mechanisms on the planes warned the pilots, who swerved to avoid each other. A passenger on the plane to Perth said he saw the other plane passing below them. The safe distance between planes is 1,000 feet vertically and 5 nautical miles horizontally. A loss of separation occurs when planes come closer. None of the passengers on either plane suffered any injuries, and both planes landed safely.
2 passenger planes carrying a total of 1,000 passengers narrowly averted a collision over Scotland in June, a report by a British flight safety watchdog has revealed. The pilots of the 2 Boeing 747s were warned to take immediate evasive action as the planes' paths gradually converged, but instead flew closer. The transatlantic planes were roughly 30 miles north of Glasgow and failed to properly follow instructions. The planes were 10 nautical miles apart horizontally at the time of the first alert. Within a minute, they were within 3 miles of each other. At one point, the aircraft came within 100 feet vertically. A collision was avoided when both pilots took evasive action, one climbing and the other descending. The report concluded that both flight crews had taken each other's instructions.